Here we go. What is up, YouTube? It is your boy Tehziii here, and we are going to be starting our journey once again. We're going to be we're going to be talking about anime today. Now, here's the thing, guys. First off, I want to start off by saying I'm nervous. Every time I start a stream, I always start off nervous because it's like off the cuff, like everything I say is live. I can't edit things out, so I like to pause a lot in between my speaking because I like to, just think about what I'm saying. But at the same time, I know that, like right now, I'm rambling about something that's not important. All I was trying to say is that I'm nervous and I get nervous. And when I get nervous, I talk more than I have to. And that's why I have bullet points on my phone to make sure that I stay on topic and I don't start talking about like the Third World War and how it's going to start and things like that. Because that's usually what happens with me. But so we're going to be talking about anime. But before we do that, I would like to say thank you to everybody who sent me well wishes and, their condolences and stuff. My uncle did pass, and I mean, it's super soon. I'm not going to say I'm over it. I don't think I'll ever be over it. But I am starting to accept it. And one of the things that helped me like distract myself was one, work. I worked a lot, but two, I was just watching a ton of anime to be honest. Welcome, Only Clan. How you guys doing? How you doing today? Quick reminder, I have my volume all the way up and the audio is a bit low. To be honest with you, it may not even be the audio. It may just be me. Like I said, I'm nervous. Let me see if I could just raise it up a little bit for you guys. Tell me how you sound a little better now. Yeah, I'll just wait for you to reply, but let me just raise it up just a little more just in case. Right there. Alright, so here's the thing, guys. I was watching a lot of anime and I caught up to Food Wars, right? I don't know if you guys watch Food Wars. Some of you guys might know it as Shokugeki No Souma. That's the Japanese name. So we're definitely going to be talking about that because that's one of my favorite animes, to be honest with you. And I say to be honest with you a lot, clearly, but Food Wars is definitely one of my favorite animes. But I say that about every single anime that I watch because I don't know, I really enjoy anime. So all of them that I watch and that I finish are one of my favorites because I don't watch anime that I don't enjoy. Like, my rule is watch the first 5 episodes. If you don't get into it or you don't even feel like you want to continue watching it, then don't, because it's just going to be a waste of time. You might watch like 55 episodes and then not even like it. I mean, there's a few anime that you're like, even I can admit, like Haikyuu Hitman Reborn, I did not like the anime at all, but I kept watching it because one of my friends really did. But it took like almost 70 episodes for me to actually enjoy the anime. Which, looking back at it, I was a little crazy for doing that. But in hindsight, it was good because it's one of my favorite animes. Yeah, like every other anime, but it's a really good anime. But we're gonna talk about what happened this week in the anime that I've been watching, right? So I have a list, and the first on that list is Black Clover, guys. So let me just get out my notes here just to make sure that I stay on topic and that I know what I'm talking about. Alright. So first of all, let's talk about that revival spell, right? So one of the things is we left off, they were fighting Luck, right? I was about to call him Natsu. I don't know why. I mean, they're kind of like the same kind of character, like quirky characters, like really train really hard, quirky characters. So I guess that's probably why his name, and it's Natsu and then Asta. So I mean, I guess I could make that mistake, but yeah. So Asta, Vanessa, and I forgot the other guy's name. Magna were fighting Luck. They were trying to get him back to normal. We ended the last episode with them like having him pinned down to the ground and Asta about to like release him from the spell. Which, by the way, even this episode took a really long time. So I was like, they had him pinned down and he was sitting there like this for mad long. And at first I was like, maybe the pressure that he's releasing from like releasing all his power at once like he was doing was what's keeping him from pushing it down. But then when he actually did connect the sword, it seemed kind of easy. So I don't know why he was just sitting there like waiting for him to talk, and I don't know, it was weird. But I guess it was just plot because they needed to show how the spell actually works. Now So the spell, how it works is people are brought back from the dead, but they're being controlled, right? Because everyone that they've released, which is just two people, has also said that they never really wanted to hurt humans. So now I don't understand exactly how it is that they're being controlled, but I think it has something to do with the hatred that they have inside them. Maybe like it magnifies it and makes it worse and makes them like want to do these things. And then when they get released from the spell, then they go back to normal and they have their old feelings again. But I think it works a little bit like the Ito Tensei from Naruto, because like their souls are brought back into the bodies of other people, right? And then they're being controlled through a kunai with a certain writing on it, right? Um, which now that I think about it, maybe they got the inspiration for the spell from that, because it's pretty similar, right? Like really similar. Besides the fact that the Ito Tensei, like the person who the body of the person is living, yes. I think it's the body of the person is living, but there's no like second soul. Like that body, the person who was in that body beforehand, like they die. And in the spell here, it's like they're both in the same body, and eventually one overtakes the other. But I don't think that they die. And I think that once they get released, then they come back. And it makes sense because this anime doesn't really kill people off like that. I mean, I think I've seen, I think I've only seen like a couple deaths, if not just one, and he killed himself. Like, yeah, but either way, that's the way that that spell works, which completely makes my theory of like, oh, he's healing them, like it blows it out of the water. I don't think it makes any sense anymore, because if it's a spell that like that, then yeah, my theory doesn't work. But then they also blew it out of the water anyways, because they actually explained, they actually explained how it works, which I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, because let me tell you guys something. I personally don't understand why they would make two swords do the exact same thing, right? They have one sword, which is the first sword that negates all magic, right? Then this sword negates all magic. Their explanation for it was something to the effect of like, it basically makes it like, and Asta was the one who explained it, so it was really poorly explained, but basically it makes it like the spell never was casted, right? So it doesn't negate the magic because the spell is casted, right? And then you just basically say it doesn't, not that it doesn't exist, but you just negate the power. Like it goes from power level 100 to 0. This one basically makes it so like it never existed. So like if somebody lived and this is probably a bad example, but like let's pretend an animal's living and somebody hunts it, right? He lived throughout that time. They hunt it, then that animal no longer exists because they hunted it. It died. But if you basically pretend like it never existed, whatever happened throughout the lifespan of that animal must have changed, right? To be honest, it just doesn't make sense. I think it does the exact same thing, and I think the fact that they have three swords and two of them do the same thing is kind of sad. They kind of blew it. They had the chance to take this sword and make it do something really cool, and they made it do the exact same thing that the other one did. I hope that throughout the anime or the manga, they come up with a better explanation for the sword. Maybe they do something a little cooler, and I don't even know. Maybe they do the same thing, but they use it in a cool way that makes sense why the other one wouldn't be able to do it, but this one can. I don't know, man. But to be honest, I think they kind of dropped the ball here. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys feel about it. I think they dropped the ball. I think this third sword that he has is doing the exact same thing that the first sword was. The only difference is that to be honest with you, I don't even know the difference. I think it's the exact same thing. But besides that, oh, here's another thing too. And not to be, you know what I mean? Like if you really like Black Clover, I'm sorry, but the last like couple episodes, and if you really like Dragon Ball Z too, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but I know everybody knows what an ass pull is, right? An ass pull is basically something that was never foreshadowed, something that like nobody talked about, and all of a sudden, boom, it happens. Like it's like it's not a plot hole, but it's like it changes the plot. It changes the way the character is going towards something out of nowhere. Like just randomly, something that just came out of nowhere. It was never. I don't even know how to explain it besides just saying this. Okay, The sensu bean in Dragon Ball Z is an ass pull, right? Is an ass pull because these guys are dying, and out of nowhere, oh, here, take a sensu bean. Now he's healed and he can fight again. Especially for Dragon Ball Z, where you have the Saiyans literally every time they almost die, they take a sensu bean and they come back stronger, right? So it's an ass pull because this guy can almost die, take a sensu bean, come back to life and be super strong. Almost die again, come back to life and be super strong again. So if he's fighting a villain, he can just come back to life and be super strong again. And Black Clover reminded me of that. Obviously, he's not getting stronger. Asta's not getting stronger. But these ass pull healings are really getting me a little bit annoyed because this guy gets out of fighting light. All of a sudden, hey, here's a special magic item, which, by the way, I didn't even know. Like, I don't know. Whatever. Here's a special magic item that's going to heal you. Boom. Now he's healed. Okay, he gets out of another fight. Oh, you're almost dead. Here, let me heal you. Eat a bunch of food. And it's like, bro, are these fights fodder? Like, the fights that you're making him go through, they don't matter, right? So that's why you're healing him, so that then he can go and fight the real fight at full power. But then if that was right, the first fight that he fought was against light, which means it is important. So I don't understand why. I just don't get it. Like, to me, it's kind of ruining the plot just a little bit. I would rather see him kind of like Luffy does, where like Luffy is almost dying all the time. Like, Luffy's like dead all the time, and then he like comes up with something that went, right? Maybe not exactly like Luffy, because Luffy sometimes he should have lost, and then he won. But it's like you use the same move 100 times and it didn't work. All of a sudden, you use it one more time and it wins you the fight. You know, Luffy versus Lucci, but whatever. But yeah, I just feel like it could be a little bit better written. What's good, John Doe? How you doing? We're kind of finished on Black Clover, but you're just in time for my 5-second review, basically. I talked a lot about it. You can go back and watch it, but for the summary, basically, here's what I said. Black Clover, episode 105. The revival spell basically works like the Ito Tensei from Naruto. You know what I mean? They bring back people from the dead, put them in real life bodies, and they're able to control them. That's basically it. The third sword is really redundant. I think it does the exact same thing that the first sword does, which is it cancels out. The first sword negates all magic. The third sword makes it like it never was ever actually casted, which to me is the exact same thing. So I think they dropped the ball right there, right? And then also there's the ass pull healings that I just talked about, which is Asa's being healed like right after battles, left and right, randomly, with random things. But alright, that's enough of Black Clover. Let's move on to the next anime, which is actually one of my favorite episodes from this week. I think this anime did a really good job, and it is Ahiru No Sora. Now, I had a little bit of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it type feelings about this anime because of the first 2 episodes, and I thought the plot was kind of like super generic. You know, it's a basketball anime, so what should the main character have to face? Obviously, the main character is gonna be short, right? Because what other plot can you have for a basketball anime besides having the main character be short? But it's giving me like a really good like Kuroko No Basket type feeling, where it's not just about the main character, it's about the other cast that's around him, right? That's why like Momoharu's actually starting to develop as a character. You're actually starting to want to, you know, you already like Sora from the beginning. Obviously, he's the main character, but now Momoharu's actually making you feel like, hey, I want to root for him too. And Shiaku, which is the other, like his twin brother, but somehow different, not really looking the same. You're actually, I'm starting to get a little bit of interest in him as well, to be honest. But let's talk about this last episode. Let's start with the fact that Momoharu was actually is actually super trash at basketball. Now, my theory last week was Momoharu really liked basketball, practiced a lot, and his coach said things to him that made him feel bad, right? And then he quit. Well, it turns out that he's actually just really trash at basketball, which I think is a little funny because of the fact that he was taking, I think he said it was like 200 to 300 shots, and he said he never made a shot. His brother said he never made a shot. I don't know how many days or weeks he practiced, or even how long he was in the basketball team for, but if you took 300 shots, even in just one day, bro, how do you make all of them? And it was funny because looking back at like the first episode where they showed him practicing, they didn't show him making any. They didn't even show where the ball was hitting when he was practicing. So it just made me a little. It just made me laugh a little bit, right? That part was a little thing, but we did see one thing that was cool, which is the fact that, and this is what reminds me a little bit about Kuroko no Basket, because Momoharu is actually going to be like a super aggressive player, right? A super aggressive basketball player. So he's going to be rushing straight to the paint, trying to dunk on everybody. At least that's how I see it. He still tried to dunk and missed anyways, but I feel like that's what's going to be his thing. He can fly, basically. He can jump super high to the point where like half his arm is over the rim. So I see him as an aggressive player. He's going to be dunking on everybody, which then leaves me with, you have Sora as like diving, the like just straight switching the defense up. Like he's going to be the point guard. At least I think he's going to be a short point guard, right? Which means Chiaku, I think Chiaku is going to be that defensive player. He's super huge, super bulky, always eating, which means he's probably heavy. He's going to be sitting there defending everything, blocking everybody, screening, like just immovable object type thing. Like, I'm calling it now. That's going to be Chiaku's role in this anime, which I obviously he's going to be playing. He's wearing a uniform right there in the picture that I'm using. He hasn't started playing any anime yet, but I'm assuming that he will, right? Alright, so that's another thing too. When Momoharu was actually practicing again recently, because Sora made him all, oh my god, I want to play basketball, yeah, like gave him those excited feelings about basketball again. He was practicing, and guess what? He still sucked. Then he tried to dunk. Sora saw him. They got jumped in that moment by the school that they fought last episode. And those people beat the crap out of them, but somehow they were able to they were able to fend them off, right? And then what happened is, it was weird, and to be honest with you, I don't understand how you go from beating people up to then saying, you know what, we're gonna get our basketball team to beat you guys in a game. But whatever, their first game is set, and it's against a good team, and Sora shows his determination for the game. Right, because he goes to that school to just scout to see how good they are, and the whole he's short, so he has to show everybody that he's still good. Blah blah thing came out, and the guy was sitting there talking about, basically everybody was lined up, and he just called up like 5 people and was like, "Leave, you're not on my team." For no reason, they didn't even touch a basketball yet. He was like, "You're too short." Period. Sora was like, "No, I'm not." And he made the shot, and then he was like, "Told you, I'm not short," or he is short, but shortness has nothing to do with basketball. It's all about practice. But yeah, so don't get me wrong, I'm making fun of the scene because it's like I would have expected it to be like that, but it was actually a good scene. Like in that moment, I was actually excited for it because of the fact that, yeah, it felt good. Like, yeah, show that guy that he's wrong. Yeah, show him off. Tell him he's an idiot. So yeah, it did make me feel good, but that scene was good. But the reason for that is that the first game is against exactly what Sora needs, which is a team that says, if you're short, you suck. So now he's not going to suck. But the thumbnail for this is the reason why. His determination, right? What it takes to be a man. This dude says, listen, okay, so first of all, they only have 2 players. They have 3 sucky players that don't want to play basketball and suck. They were laughed at by the girls while they were practicing, and they quit. Sora goes back to them and says, hey, and by the 3 guys, I'm talking about the 3 doofs that, 3 hoodlums. He goes to them and he's like, hey, what do I have to do to get you guys to come back? And jokingly, they were like, you have to play basketball in your boxers. I don't know why this kid just was naked. Maybe he was so nervous that he was like, what did they say, boxers, naked? Naked. And then he just got naked and started playing basketball with all the girls in the place, butt ass naked. But that was a little funny, and in fact, I put it as a thumbnail because it made me laugh. So hopefully you guys check this out, because that was actually a really funny part. But besides that, let's get into the actual important parts of this, right? So first of all, we do have the fact that Chiaku is, I'm starting to get interested in him, right? Because, and I think they were talking about Chiaku, but the guy from the other team, they asked him, or the captain, they asked him like, hey, why did you accept a game against a school that like basically sucks. You know we're trying to go to the championship, so why would you accept that game? And he was like, there's a guy that interests me. Click. Who's interesting? At least to me, it's Chiaku. We know he played basketball. Nobody said he sucked. And for some reason, I have this feeling that he's like a hidden talent. That like the moment he plays, he's gonna be a beast. And the only reason he stopped playing was because his brother, like, basically, they're twins. So he probably was just like, he felt his brother's pain and was like, I get it. I'm adding to your pain because I'm good, so I'll stop playing basketball too. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Alright, so here is our 5-second review for this anime. So let me just get out my notes so we can just go through it real quick. Momoharu's trash at math and basketball. By the way, I forgot to mention that, but he's also really trash at math. Yes, but I think he's going to be an aggressive player. I think he's going to just be dunking over everybody, and his drive is going to be super crazy. Like, you're not going to be able to stop him. He's just going to plow through everybody. We'll see in the coming, but I think it gives me a really good feeling. I feel like it's going to be more like Kuroko No Basket than I thought in the beginning, so that's good. Their first game is going to be against a team that says, hey, we don't allow short people, which obviously makes sense because Sora's short, so they're going to go against their first game is going to be against a team that says, I don't like short people, and then they're going to win most likely or come super close to it, give them a good game, and it's only going to be Sora and Momoharu who are playing. And to be honest with you, now I'm even more interested because it just clicked. Momoharu still sucks. Sora's the only good player. The other three guys are trash. So it's going to be a 1-on-5. So now I'm actually interested to watch this next episode, which you guys should be too. Alright, so the first game is that, and then Chiaku I think he's going to be a super important defensive player. I think he's the person that the other guy was talking about when he said, there's a guy that interests me. I think it's Chiaku, and I think we're going to see maybe this game, next game, why he's the one that's interesting. Hopefully, because I really just want to I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this anime because it's actually starting to interest me a lot. And it's funny because when I first started talking about this anime, I said, oh, I don't know, it might just be a Kuroko no Basket knockoff without any plot, and I don't like anime with no plot, blah blah. And look at this, it actually might make me feel good about watching it, which sounded really weird. So I'm just gonna continue on and go to the next anime. Especially since the thumbnail I just chose too. Like, come on, bro. What is good, Noop? Noop, how you doing? We chilling here just talking about anime. You should probably listen in and watch some of the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm sure you'd enjoy it, trust me. Whenever I start talking, bro, like, I always have to have a water because my throat just gets super dry. And then I start messing up my words even more than I usually do. Alright, so the next anime that we're going to be talking about is Diamond Ace. Not really much to talk about this episode. It was just a recap episode. It's funny because Diamond Ace and One Piece both gave us, like, not filler, but, like, they weren't continuing the plot this episode. Like, Diamond Ace was just a recap episode. They did exactly what, because Diamond Ace is the same as One Piece. So, like, whenever they need not a hiatus, but whenever they need some time to animate the next, because Diamond Ace is way further in the manga than they are in the anime, than One Piece is, but whenever they need that time to make the game special and really do good on the animation, they just give you a recap episode, which, to be honest with you, I'm not too mad about because of the fact that it kind of adds to the anime almost. Like, when you watch it, you're sitting there just watching everything you've already watched, but at the same time, what they do is, like, they just explain to you how important this next game is going to be. It kind of makes it obvious for you to understand, like, hey, this game is super important, and they're training super hard for it, and this is all how they feel about this next game and why they want to win. And then when you watch the next game, then you're more into it, and you're more into the fact that, like, yo, they need to win this. And then while you're watching the next game, they're giving you the backstory of the other team, and you're just there like, okay, but now I want the other team to win a little bit too, but I still want them to win. And then you're just torn. It just adds, like, yeah, just a recap episode basically, but what I'm trying to say is it's going to add to the next episode. Like, when we watch the actual game, it's going to the how into the game you are is because you just watched this recap episode. So it was important, but it was just a recap episode. It literally just said what we all just watched. So not really much to say about this episode, right? So yeah, that's Diamond No Ace, and we're gonna just touch upon one thing real quick on this next anime. I'm not gonna really review it like that, which is Doctor Stone, but let me just say the fact that I'm an idiot because you know something, you guys are mean too because you guys didn't say anything to me, and I was sitting here saying that Doctor Stone was over. I mean, the last episode that I talked about, they like released two things, which is why I thought it was over, and it was at episode 12, so I thought it was over. You know, usually like one season lasts 12 episodes, so I said, oh, 12 episodes, and they gave this weird like 13th secret episode of like some weird stuff that they were talking about. Yeah, it's probably over, and it's not. And I'm 4 episodes behind, and nobody said anything to me. So you guys are rude, but whatever. That's all I wanted to say about Dr. Stone. Next week I'll be caught up and we'll be talking about it. But for right now, I can't talk about it. I'm 4 episodes behind. One Piece. Just like I said before, not really much to say about One Piece. One Piece was to be honest with you, it was cool. It was like an alternate version of the start of One Piece. I like the way it started more, like the original version of how it started, way more than the alternate version that they showed us this week. But it wasn't bad, but it was just filler. It's not canon. It doesn't change the plot. And to be honest with you, I think it's going to go back again to normal, to canon next week. So not really much to talk about, but yeah, that was One Piece. It was just a filler. It's a 1 episode thing, so you guys can watch it if you want, but I mean, you guys probably already watched it, but to be honest with you, it wasn't much. Alright, so now we can talk about Food Wars, which is something that I actually wanted to get into. Sorry for that, but here's the thing. I told you guys last week that I was going to watch Food Wars and I was going to catch up. And this anime right here, with the loss of my uncle, I was able to like distract myself for a whole day. The day that I found out I didn't go to work, I couldn't go to work. There's no way I would be able to go to work. I was super sad, and I just couldn't go to work. And that day I had nothing else to do but just stay at home. I didn't want to do anything other than just stay at home, and I just watched anime. And this anime, I watched all the season before. Because remember, guys, I told you guys that I couldn't really remember too much of the last season. I didn't want to watch this season without it, so I watched all of the last season again, and the last 2 episodes that came out for it. So I caught up now, and it's amazing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the last episode that just came out. So, Food Wars. Mimasaka versus Saito, the 4C in the tuna battle, flashed. Alright, so Mimasaka, I don't know if you guys remember, is the guy that, I forgot the Italian guy's name. Whew. Excuse me, it's getting kind of late, past my bedtime. But there's an Italian guy who is in Food Wars, right? And he went against Mimasaka. When he went against Mimasaka, Mimasaka's strategy is basically just to copy you and then add just one little thing that makes it better than what you originally did. So Mimasaka did the same thing to this Italian guy and took his knives, his precious knives. To a chef, your knives obviously are some of like the most important things you have, if not the most important things you have. Besides obviously the food that you're making or whatever. But I was about to call him Soda. See, his name isn't Soda. What's his name? Frick, man. What the heck is this guy's name? I can't even remember the main character's name. That's crazy. Alright, but the main character goes in, fights, or not fights, but does a Shokugeki with Mimasaru. Bro, something's wrong with my brain today. It's past my bedtime. Mimasaka, and I was about to call him, it's Mimasaru, and it's because Momoharu, like, too similar, whatever. Mimasaku or Mimasaka. I need a nap. Mimasaka. Alright, whatever, bro. Mimasaka is going against, forget the past. Mimasaka is going against the 4C right now, and he basically chose tuna, and the 4C is a sushi master, so that guy obviously is better than Mimasaka, but he does his normal strategy. You copy people, and then at the end, you do one thing that you think will take you to the next level, and you'll win. Alright. So he did all that, but actually enhanced his ability to do that, and now he has this thing called Flash. So before he would stalk you until he understood who you were and how you cook. This time he's just watching you, and as you're doing things, he's copying you exactly, right? With a little bit of, obviously he messed up, and that's why he lost, because he cutting tuna, there's like a special cut, an invisible cut. You do too many of them, it's not the same. When you do it just the right amount, it explodes and all the flavor goes all over your mouth. But when you do too many, it just dissolves and it just goes to the bottom or something like that. Mimasaku obviously couldn't exactly cut exactly the amount. It's like a tuna roll like this big, and he's cutting, trying to see how many times you cut. He's not gonna cut the same amount, obviously. He cut too many, and that's what made him lose. So the Rebels, because it's Rebels versus Central. Central's trying to just destroy the way restaurants work. They're trying to make everybody cook the exact same way, and no cook ever has to do or look for things that are different. And that's because Asami, I don't know how I'm remembering everybody's name except for the main character. Is his name Sora? His name is probably Sora, bro, or something close to it. Food Wars main character. Soma. Duh. See, that's why. That's why, because his name is Soma. Alright. Well, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Asami used to be, like, Soma's dad's best friend, or like, he used to really look up to him. So what happened is, Soma's dad was the pioneer of trying new things and trying to figure out new things. So when he gave up on cooking, it really hurt Asami, because Asami looked at him as like the best chef ever. So then he saw that and he was like, I know how to fix that so that no chef ever has to go through this again. I'm going to make everybody cook exactly the exact same foods, and nobody ever has to think about anything other than just cooking the exact same thing all the time. Nobody has to feel that pain that he felt ever again. It's kind of like on some Madara type crap or some Obito type crap, where it's like, what's the way to fix pain is just to make it never exist again. Yeah, so that's what he's on. Ooh, excuse me. So, what was I even talking about? I don't know, but that's what they're doing right now. They're fighting. They're doing a team Shokugeki right now, and the fight was Mimasaku versus the 4th seed of Central, or the 4th seed of the Elite 10. Mimasaku lost. Obviously, I already explained that. So that's one loss, but the Rebels actually just won 3 in a row. So I feel like they're about to lose 3 because they just lost 2, and they kind of left it at like a cliffhanger. But so the Rebels take 2 losses right off the bat, like Mimasaku, and then the 3rd seed, I think, is who he was. It was 3rd seed versus the 2nd seed, which is Rindo. They went against each other and they lost. That battle, they should have actually showed more of it. They didn't show almost anything. It was more like, yeah, I'm going to do this with peppers. Hurrah! And then, okay, here's my play. Oh, yeah, she won. Why? She's a better cook. Haha. And that was it. Like, that's basically what the explanation was for him losing, which kind of sucks because I wanted to see more, but whatever. I think they just did that to speed it up so that they can get to that cliffhanger, which the cliffhanger ended up being the final round, which is going to be in the next episode. Which is the 1st seed versus, I don't even know what seed he is, but the 3rd seed lost, the 4th seed lost, or the 4th seed is in Central still, so he's probably like the 5th seed, because the 6th seed lost to the 7th seed, and then yeah, so he's probably like the 5th seed, so it's like 5th seed versus the 1st seed. Who do you think is gonna win? Obviously the 1st seed, but on top of that, I don't see the 1st seed losing this early. I feel like the 1st seed is probably gonna lose to either Soma or Ishiki, who is actually the 7th seed. So I don't know who's the 7th seed at the moment. Oh, there's another 7th seed. Yeah, that's right. There's like an interim 7th seed or something. But yeah, I think he's gonna lose to either Soma or Ishiki, if not Nakiri, one of them. But it's not gonna be a 5th seed. I think they're gonna use him to basically show how good he actually is, which everybody already knows how good he is, so they don't really need to hype this guy up. But I think that they're sacrificing the 5th seed as a, basically, just to show us how good he is. Yeah. But I think things will basically be tied up the next episode. To be honest with you guys, I think the 5th seed's about to lose, and then things are going to be tied up. So let's go into the 5-second review for Food Wars or Shokugeki no Souma. So basically, Mimasaka loses to Saito, which is a 4 seed in a sushi battle. Kind of already saw that coming, to be honest with you, because the Rebels won 3 in a row, so I kind of was already expecting them to lose 3 in a row, if not most of it. And Mimasaka was already helping the 5th seed, which means he didn't have really too much time to do his things. But, you know, they tried to introduce Flash, blah, blah. Either way, we kind of knew he was going to lose. Then the second loss, we didn't even really see too much of it. It was like, boom, 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 boom. They won. That's it. End of story. Don't ask questions. Don't need to know more. She won, period. Which was Rindu versus, I think, the 3rd seed still. Oh my god, excuse me. Maybe I should do this just a little bit earlier. But yeah, so Rindu versus the 3rd seed, she ended up winning. I kind of already saw that coming, like I said. And I think I see them winning once more next episode. So that's 3 in a row. So now they're tied 3-3. Let's see what happens. Whoopee. But really, I think it's going to probably end with 3 versus 3. And it's going to be Soma, Nakiri, and Ishiki versus Rindu, the 1st seed. And then I'm not sure who this guy is going to be. The 3rd for the other. For the... yeah, I'm not really sure who it's going to be. Probably their 3rd seed. Yeah. But either way, that's really where it ended up. So either overall, it was a good episode. I really wish they didn't rush that second fight. Or that second... I keep calling them fights, but that second Shokugeki. But whatever. He did his part, and he won one for them anyway. So it wasn't really like they sacrificed him. So even though, here's the thing, even though they did lose 3 in a row, one of their people who was in that Shokugeki was one that already went up. Right? So it's not like they're losing. If it's 10v10, they only lost... They didn't even lose 3... Okay, no, they lost 3 players, but the other team lost 3. And one of them... I don't know how I'm supposed to explain this. It doesn't. Either way, they're even. But that guy won or fought twice is what I was trying to say. So it's not like, to be honest with you, it doesn't even really matter what I'm trying to say. But I think you guys understood, but it just didn't make sense. Let me just skip that because my brain is fried now. I'm not good at math and history either. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the final... And I think, to be honest with you, the most exciting anime for this week, and that's My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is my favorite anime that I'm watching currently. And it's only because Naruto is not a part of it, because if Naruto was, then it wouldn't be. But My Hero Academia, at the moment, out of all the anime that I'm watching, is definitely my favorite. And, yes sir, what's good? That's your anime too, bro? John Dope, that's your favorite anime too? But at the moment, yeah, My Hero Academia is definitely my favorite. And here's the thing, guys. League of Villains making moves. Alright, so we're going to talk about it. And we're going to start off with basically how it started. So the League of Villains is making moves. And they went to go grab an old, like, Yakushi, I think is what he called. Basically a mobster from Japan. Who obviously is a part of, like, the underworld. But they explain, like, the mobsters basically... were super powerful, but after the Hero Alliance and All Might came along, they kind of were no more. So this guy is basically just like remnants of what used to be. But he's still super strong. I could not really understand what his power was, but he just touched someone and they blew up. Like, I'm sorry, but the villains are starting to get way too strong. You have one villain who just touches you and you die. And now you have another villain who touches you and you blow up. What can they, like, what is this guy gonna do? What is Deku gonna do to beat these people? If he gets he has to touch you. His quirk is super strength. In order to beat you, he has to punch you in the face. And you have the ability to kill him by touching him or make his body blow up. Like, I guess he could just throw things at them or something, but I feel bad for him having to go against these people. So that's the thing, right? But this Yakushi, he was brought in as like, hey, do you want to join? And I think his name was like Aishi or something like that. I wrote it down. I think his name was like Aishi. What is his name? His name was Shie, actually. Not Aishi, sorry, Shie. He came in order to join the League of Villains, and he was like, nah, I'm here for you guys to join me. I'm the leader. You don't even have a plan. You suck as a villain, bro. And then he proceeds to beat two of them by barely doing anything, and then dipping and saying, hey, here's my card. Call me when you decide that you're going to join me. Bye. And then he dips. Like, that's basically what happened. But to be honest with you, it showed us that we should be scared for these people. Because the League of Villains lost two guys, like, in an instant to this one guy. And we don't even know what his team does, how good his team is. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And that's not even really all that happened in the episode that was really good either. But let's start with the fact that Deku is going to be working under Sir Night-Eye. And to be honest, that's really how the episode was broken down. It was broken down between the League of Legends making moves and like showing development and improving themselves, or not improving themselves, but just like showing that they were working on improving themselves, and that there was another villain that was actually stronger than them. So here's the thing. They showed us the villains that are stronger, and then they showed us, hey, but the heroes are also working hard, right? Which makes sense, right? You level one up, you level up the other, or at least you show that they're leveling up at the same time, that one isn't just getting super strong compared to the other. But Deku's going to be working under Sir Night-Eye in order to improve himself and get better, as well as everybody else is also going to be working under some people. But Deku's the one that's obviously the most important at the moment. He's going to be working under Sir Night-Eye, which I think is going to show, he's just going to be training and like learning how to use his move, basically. Because remember, All Might only uses his arms. He's using his legs as well. He calls it his shoot style. Which, I mean, to be honest with you, if you can make your whole body strong, I would assume that that's what you would do. I don't know why All Might never thought of that, but whatever. So, he goes to Sir Night-Eye, and the way he gets there is what's cool. And I always mess up this guy's name, and I don't want to. Togato, I think his name is. Togato. Togato is the guy that can, like, move through things, like, and he beat the entire first year class by himself in, like, 30 seconds. The number one prospect for being the best hero, and that's including, this is what was said, and I'm not saying this, but including all the pros, which personally I don't believe that, because why would there be a number 2 hero and you're gonna make and you think this kid is gonna be the next number 1? What happened to the number 2 hero? And then number 3, and then number 4, and then number 5. Like, why is this guy not on the list, but you still think he's better? He's gonna be the next number 1. But whatever. Yeah, but this guy is super strong, and he is already working under Sir Night-Eye. So that obviously tells us that Deku's about to be super freaking strong, because he's not only gonna work under Sir Night-Eye, which is All Might's freaking sidekick. Who else would be better to train Deku than 1, All Might's old teacher, which he just trained under, or 2, his sidekick, the one who is under. Come on, bro. Those are the 2 best people to train him. And if there's more sidekick, he's probably just going to be sidekick hopping all the time. Like, just going from sidekick to sidekick just to talk to whoever, to try and figure out, you know what I mean, just to be better than everybody. But on top of not only that, okay, that made no sense. On top of not only that, but on top of that, being under water break. Alright, but on top of being under Sir Night-Eye and learning from him, directly from a person who was working with All Might, he's working beside Togato, the number 1 prospect to be the number 1 hero, right? So he's gonna be learning. And to be honest with you, when Togato accepted it, he accepted his request of like, hey, can you bring me to Sir Night-Eye so I can train? He asked him a question, and this shows the development that Deku has gone through, because Deku's reason for being a hero has always been, I want to save people with a smile on my face. He's always said that. When he got asked the question again, he changed it to, I want to become strong enough so that people don't worry about me. And then he said, and I want to save everybody. Togato looked at his arms and saw like all the, basically the rips and stuff like that, and all just everything that showed that he was training super hard. And then you see them all over Togato as well, which just goes to show he looked at him and said, "You know what? You're good. Yeah, let's go." He approved him basically. Which is good because I think they have like the same ideology, to be honest with you, because Togato was answering questions that Deku was asking him, and it sounded almost like Deku would give him the same answers. So there's that. I just feel like Deku's not only gonna grow physically and become stronger, but he's gonna grow mentally. But I think Sir Night Eye is who's gonna train him physically, and Togato is who's gonna train him mentally. Because when you think about it, Togato probably had a super hard life. His quirk is super good and everything, but at least in my opinion, his quirk would be better for like basically espionage, not really for fighting. And I think that's probably what he went through, where he kind of knew it was for espionage and not for fighting, and he came up with a cool, innovative way of using it for fighting. But he still just has a quirk to go through things, right? So that means, okay, yeah, if you're weak, you're not gonna do anything. So now you gotta train your body to be strong enough so that when you punch somebody, it hurts, right? And I think that all that together probably was super mentally draining. And for example, Deku had it harder because he didn't have a quirk, but now he has a quirk, and all he has to do is train it, and he has a super good quirk. Togato went through something different. It's almost like thing with Sasuke and Naruto, right? Where like they both didn't have parents, but the difference is Naruto never had parents. Sasuke had parents and lost them. It's sort of the same, but it feels different because you have an attachment to your parents, right? You love them. You grew up with them. They gave you candy. They tucked you in at night, and now you don't have that, right? Like, you know what it felt like to have parents, so it hurts really bad that you lost that. While Naruto is watching other people, doesn't even know what it feels like to have parents. And even though it sounds like I'm diminishing that, no, I'm saying that's a totally different kind of pain. And that's what I'm trying to say here, where it's like Deku didn't have a quirk. He didn't know what it was like to be, or actually, he knew what it was like to be weak, right? But imagine what Togato felt, where it's like you have a quirk, and people are telling you that it's meant for one thing, and you're like, but that's not what I want to do, right? It's two different ways to look at it, and I think that's what's gonna help Deku grow mentally. Like, it's gonna help his ideology and philosophy develop, and he might even change why he wants to be a hero by the end of his training. And that gets me more excited than the fact that he's gonna get stronger. Because yeah, it's gonna be super cool to watch him fight, but what makes a good fight is when a villain and a thank you, John Doe, for even watching this far. To be honest, I appreciate the love, my guy. But yeah, that point right there is what makes it a good story, right? Because you can have a fight like Dragon Ball Z fights, amazing fights, punch, 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 super cool stuff happens, explosions, boom, 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 awesome, right? But when you have a fight that not only are the characters fighting with their fists, but with their brains, like in Naruto, one of the hypest moments that ever happened was Madara coming back. He comes in and fights an entire army and beats them. Super cool. Yeah, super cool. Like, even now I'm getting excited just remembering it. But that's not my favorite. It's not. You wanna know what my favorite is? Naruto versus Pain. 2 hours of straight ideology. 2 hours of fighting, actual fighting, fist to cuff, like beating each other up. But guess what? The best part about it was the fact that Pain had an ideology, and you were sitting there thinking like, who the hell do I want to win? Because I kind of agree with Pain, right? What's the best way to stop people from fighting? Okay, if you know how much it's gonna hurt me to fight, you won't want to fight, right? If you feel pain, you won't want to give others pain. The only reason why you feel it's okay to give somebody pain is because you don't know what that feels like. So Pain is like, I'm gonna teach everybody what pain feels like, so they won't want to give others pain. Obviously, that kind of ideology doesn't work on psychopaths and things like that. But like, if you think about it with a regular mind, you're like, maybe he's right. That's what made that fight so special, because you're just sitting there like, and Pain had such a sad backstory. You're just there like, man, maybe I want Pain to win, right, mate? And then Naruto talk no jutsu's you. Yeah, he talk no jutsu Pain, but he also talk no jutsu the viewer, because you're sitting there like, you know what? Nah, Naruto's right. He's gonna win. That's why I'm excited for this anime, because the idea, like, if Deku goes through this training and his ideology as well as his like philosophy is what grows on top of being stronger, it's gonna make for a better anime. He's gonna go against people like the League of Villains, which, by the way, that kid has a really sad story. A really sad story, like almost on that like Obito type story, where it's like he was just misled by some crazy psychopath. He probably has something inside of him that's like he just doesn't understand. And when he goes against Deku, they're gonna be fighting fist to cuff, fist, like actual amazing fight, and it's gonna be really good because Deku can't even touch him. So you know he has to think about some crazy way of winning, right? So it's gonna be super exciting to watch the fight, but at the same time, it's gonna be philosophy versus philosophy. There's a reason why he's a villain. There's a reason why Deku's gonna be a hero. If his philosophy at the moment and ideology at the moment when he's training changes and he becomes even stronger, when they go up against each other, it's gonna be another Naruto. It's gonna be another Naruto versus Pain, and that's what's exciting for me, because there hasn't been a fight that I've watched since that reminds me of that. What came closest to it, and you're gonna maybe laugh about it, but what came closest to that was the fact that it was actually the final game with Kuroko No Basket against what was his name? I forgot the guy's name. I think it was like Asaki, something like that. Let me see real quick. I'm gonna search it up. Kuroko versus Akashi. That's what it was. I'm sorry, I said Asaki. Akashi. So that right there was what came the closest, because it's basketball. It's not even fighting. But Akashi's ideology versus Kuroko's ideology, like Kuroko's are like, I love basketball, I want to play with my team, and Akashi's like, I don't need a team, like I'm the best, period. Like I just win. I'm absolute. There's nothing you can do to beat me. And then Kuroko's like, nah, bro, you can't play basketball by yourself, and I'm gonna show you that. So it was just like that was like the closest I've ever came to it. So that might be another reason why you guys should go ahead and check it out. But yeah, My Hero Academia was definitely the episode that got me the most excited this week. And it's also the anime that I'm most excited to watch, going forward. And I really wish that it wasn't a seasonal anime. I mean, even though usually they give like a good amount of episodes per season, I just wish that they just like, hey man, just let it be like Naruto and watch it every day. I would rather have, like I said before, I would rather have an anime that whenever they need a break, they give you some filler, but it's always coming back. Like even if it's like a 2-3 week break, it's better than waiting like 3-4 months for another season to come in, and sometimes even more, like a year. Like I'm just good on that, man. But yeah, this anime is definitely my favorite. So my 5-second review is that My Hero Academia is awesome. That's really it. It's awesome. It's my favorite anime at the moment. But yeah, guys, that's really all that I have to say for this episode of Sunday Night Anime. We did pretty good. It was an hour. I talked a lot. Sometimes I feel like I talk too much. But let me know in the comment section down below any opinions that you have on the anime that we just talked about, or any anime that you think, hey, I would really like it if you talked about it here. If I'll give it a try. I'll watch the first 5 episodes, like I always say, and if I don't talk about it ever, then I probably didn't like your anime. But yeah, that's going to be the end for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to hit that like button for me. Small channel. Likes help me a lot. Share this video. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm actually going to be adding these to SoundCloud. So I actually created a SoundCloud for these, for anybody who doesn't want to watch it on YouTube or whatever reason. You can watch it on SoundCloud. You can put it on while you're going to the gym, while you're driving, or you're sitting in class and your teacher's being annoying, like one or the other. But yeah, it's on SoundCloud now, so you guys can go ahead and leave a like on that as well, and share that to whoever you want, because whatever. If you don't want to share it, it's fine too. But again, thank you guys for supporting. Those of you who came and watched me today, I appreciate all of you guys who are also gonna watch this after the fact. Not everybody can stay up this late with me, but let me stop talking because I'm talking a lot. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't know why I did this. Goodbye.